Hello, I'm Edith Bowman.
And I'm Michelle Collins.
And welcome, friends, to On the Box, the podcast where we celebrate the latest releases and most loved shows on BritBox and beyond.
So this week, we're going to be joined by the fantastic Ed Speleers, who you're going to recognize from his performance in The Lady, also starring our friend and former guest on this show, Mia McKenna-Bruce, who we just adored.
Slightly obsessed with her, to be absolutely honest with you. She's amazing. Ed is, you might recognize him as well. He's one of those people that's been around. I think he was like a child actor, which I want to speak to him about, but Downton Abbey, Outlander, You, and so much more. In fact, just quickly talking on Outlander, I spent the I didn't spend the evening. It sounds like I was on a date with Katrina Balfe last night. I wasn't. I was just chatting to her about the final season of Outlander, which is a show that I haven't really watched that much of, and I really feel like I should because it feels like it's my people's history.
Yeah. I am happy that I feel no guilt for not having watched Outlander. And it's not because I know people are so deeply obsessed with this show.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people tell me they've never seen Seinfeld. And I'm like, are you okay in the head? I'm sure me saying that I've never seen Outlander is upsetting people to their core. And you're right to feel that way. But I just have too much, with all the reality that I watch and all of I watched Love Story, the JFK Jr.
Oh, me too.
Miniseries, which finished a few weeks ago. And I just had so much TV that it's like the same reason I don't watch Love Island. Too much. It's also like telling someone who's never seen Game of Thrones, start at the first season. They're going to be like, no, too much. I feel too out of it. And it's sad when you've not gotten in on it early enough.
Do you think you have an addiction to reality?
Oh, I've built a career off of it, Edith. Let's be honest. It's a financial addiction to being able to go to restaurants and pay rent. I love reality TV. And the thing is this, even when it's bad, it's good. I always say it's like our version of wrestling, like probably how people feel about The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is how I feel about some of the housewives or what have you. But yeah, and I love a game show, as you know.
Yeah, I remember being a kid, actually, my little brother being mad into WWE wrestling and me going, what is wrong with you? Why? It's not real. Come on. Coming back with the foamy hands and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, mate, what's going on?
But it's like harmless masculinity, I feel, in wrestling in a way. Because my dad was never into sports, but he also loved wrestling. And it's funny to me, like, for example, in Mexico, they have those lucha libre masks.
Yeah.
I find them scary.
Yeah, weirdly, my husband brought a couple of them back from tour as gifts, which I'm not quite sure what that says about him or our relationship. I know we haven't talked about this yet, and I feel like we need to talk about it. And I know that we have you to thank for it, but the fact that Whoopi Goldberg had our biscuit faces, or our face biscuits, that literally blew my little mind. In the fact that I remember being a kid and Jumpin' Jack Flash, that film that she was in with Jonathan Pryce years ago, decades ago, was one film that I watched over and over and over again. And the fact that then I see on social media that she's got the biscuits for On the Box, I'm like, what is going on?
So listen, her assistant, James, because obviously I know Whoopi from when we were on The View together. I've stayed in touch with her, obviously, over the years. We went on vacation last summer.
What?
My favorite sentences in the world is that I went to Sicily with Whoopi Goldberg and her fantastically amazing family, who I love. And yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where obviously she's so busy, she's so famous, she's so brilliant. So anytime I get a chance to spend time with Whoopi, I cherish literally every moment of it.
Oh my God.
And I hadn't seen her since August. And so her assistant was like, oh, Whoopi wanted me to send these to you. And I still get starstruck. I know her. And I'm not cool about it. I'm like, oh my God, like Whoopi and the cookies. So I sent her a voice note being like, Whoopi, don't eat them. Because at this point, they got to be, 2 months old? I mean, I don't know, maybe in like the View mailroom, they were stuck there for a couple months. But I was like, Whoopi, do not have an ambulance on standby.
Can you imagine if we like literally made Whoopi Goldberg's got intensive care after eating biscuits? Yeah, that'd be crazy,
I don't want
wouldn't
a Mama Cass Whoopi. That's not in the stars for this year. So, but she was so sweet to even send those along. And we love Whoopi, one of the great geniuses of our time.
Now I have a great visual image in my head of you two on holiday together in a karaoke bar doing like songs from Sister Act.
Another dream of mine, not fulfilled yet. There's plenty of time, and she goes to Italy all the time. But no, we had an amazing lunch, I remember, by the seaside, and her granddaughter was there with us. And we just, listen, she's got so much wisdom
Yeah.
Not to mention, forget the acting, but doing The View for as many years as she's done it. Oh my God. Someone needs to like fact check it. At least 20 years, 15 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
what else has been going on this week with you?
Well, Edith, thank you for asking. I mean, nothing. I've had a crazy week. I was in Mexico for a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I sped back to the US. I managed to get through all the TSA things that we've been going through recently. And I did Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen this week, which was a lot of fun. I went to dinner at a place. Have you ever been? Okay, I'm getting into the camera here. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to a restaurant called Polo Bar?
No, but I saw that you dressed appropriately for going to the Polo Bar. It was amazing.
You would. Next time. Oh, thank you. No, next time you are here, I was in Great Gatsby cosplay, essentially. But next time you are here, I'm taking you to Polo Bar because it is the closest thing to like old school New York chic, a little snobby, but also so much fun. People, it's a fantastic place.
Okay, that's so funny. And then you mentioned Love Story there as well. My mind was slightly blown in the fact that when I was in New York for our launch, my friend Ben, who you met, took me to Indochine for dinner, and then I'm watching Love Story, and what's on the telly but the restaurant that I went to. That still blows my mind, stuff like that.
How was it? I've never been there.
Delicious.
In all these years. Was it?
Delicious, yeah.
You know what I heard? So one of my favorite restaurants in New York is a place called the Odeon, which is downtown in Tribeca, or the Odeon, however you say it.
Yeah.
And when I lived here, that was my spot. I knew all the bartenders. You park yourself at the bar. Just the best people watching great food, great drinks. And because of Love Story, because all these young kids now want to pretend like it's 1996 and you can smoke indoors, apparently you cannot get into the Odeon anymore because of all these like Gen Zers fighting for seats at the bar. And I'm pissed. I'm like, that's my spot. I didn't need a TV show to tell me to go there. Like, that's where I used to go.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Get off my bar stool immediately.
Yes. I'm pissed. I didn't even think they drank, these kids. What are they getting? Like Diet Cokes? I don't like it. Edith.
Apple juice.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a little bit of Brittionary?
I always love Brittionary with you. You know that.
Okay. You know, it's our game Returning Again, where I get to test Michelle's knowledge on lesser known British slang words. But today's round is going to all be around Cockney rhyme and slang. Gavna. So how much do you know about that?
I don't know. Honestly, that you're going to stump me, I think, this week. But hit me with some.
I think you'll be all right. So Cockney rhyme and slang is a dialect of slang words that have their own origin in the criminal underworld of Victorian London, just to give you context to where it comes from. But many of the phrases are commonly used still today. So you've got to try and translate these. Clue, it will rhyme with the second word. Okay. Are you telling me a porky pie, Michelle? What is porky pie? What is the real word? Is
just a lie?
Yes.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah. Okay. Apples and pears.
Is it
rhymes with the second word?
Rhymes with the second word. Apples and pears. Is it bears? I can just say rhyming words.
I'm afraid not. It's stairs. Dog and bone.
No, let me understand something. Why would you say instead of stairs, apples and pears? I don't get it.
I think it was like when like Victorian crooks were trying to escape and they'd be giving you a clue as to where to go. But then so people didn't know what they were saying. It's going, maybe if you go up the apples and pears. And people are like, what was he talking about? See?
Can I say something about Edith Bowman? A wealth of information. And genuinely,
making it up, babe. Making it up.
Really? I was so in. I'm like, look at this woman. She knows. I was like David Attenborough on the scene. She knows everything. Wow. Okay. It sounds like a great lie, like a great porky pie. Okay. Hit me with the next one. See?
Dog and bone.
Phone. That I know.
There we go. The Rosie Lee. A nice cup of Rosie Lee.
Tea?
Yes.
Okay.
Butcher's hook. It's quite a tricky one, this one.
Sounds like Boutros Ghali. Boutros hook?
Butcher, you know, who
Butcher.
like Butcher, yeah, there we go. Subtitles
Butcher's
will
hook.
be provided. Yeah.
Is it crook?
No, it should be. It's Luke.
I don't like that one. Okay.
He's given me the butcher's hook. He's given me that look.
It's a little violent for me. I have a lot of past trauma. Okay, what's the next one?
That's it. You're not getting any more.
That's it.
We'll have to wait for our next edition of Brittionary.
Are there any American words that when you, I know I'm putting you on the spot a bit, but that when you heard of them, you were surprised, like any American lingo?
Well, I don't really know, apart from those kind of words where like, you know, like garbage or different words are used for things as opposed to there being words that I don't really understand, I think, more so. Yeah, I can't think of any. It's more that kind of thing of, but it's funny that thing where I remember taking my mum to New York for her 50th, and we went out to Statue of Liberty, and she said, "Oh, I really want to do the audio tour." So we saw a little kind of coffee pop-up stand. So I was like, "Why don't you go and get us coffees, and I'll go and get us the audio things." So I come back quicker than my mum had realised. I stood behind her in the queue. At which point she orders coffees with an American accent.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
"Eleanor, what are you doing?"
And did they understand what she was saying? How was she?
Probably because that's why she did it, because they wouldn't have understood her if she'd spoken in her broad Scottish accent.
I want to ask you one other thing, because, it's very difficult oftentimes for Americans to understand Scottish people.
Yeah.
Is the reverse true? Like, do you hear sometimes Americans and you have no idea what we're saying?
No. You're clear as a dial. Clear as a dial.
So funny, isn't it? Well, all right, glad I asked.
Now, we're really thrilled to welcome our guest for this week. We know him as Thomas Cressman from The Lady and from his performance in Downton Abbey and You and Star Trek, Picard and Outlander. The list will go on for days, but it won't, because we're going to say hello, Ed Speleers.
We are so thrilled that you're here, Ed. And I know Edith and I loved The Lady. You're playing Thomas Cressman, who is the partner and eventual victim of Jane Andrews in the BritBox.
Allegedly.
How dare you interrupt me in the BritBox drama series, The Lady. And Ed, we had Mia on our show a few weeks ago in person. We loved her so much, and it was impossible to picture her as this woman. So how did you guys even get into character on set?
I mean, don't be fooled. She was probably really flowering and charming with you guys. She is evil.
She is. Great
She
opener.
is evil. No, I mean, Mia is like, she is, as you witness now yourself, like this bundle of infectious, positive energy, which is incredibly refreshing to be around on a set. I think I wish she drives it. Like, she is like, there's nothing phases her, nothing like emotionally phases her. She's also one of these really, really annoying actresses that can just be talking to you about chocolate hobnobs and cups of tea, and then suddenly she's bawling her eyes out or screaming in your face as an actor. Like they cut to the camera, turn it on, she just goes. She's incredibly. She's got this. She's just a real natural. I think she's wonderful to be around, and I think what she did, as well as what everybody else on that, like the higher echelons of the team, sort of conveyed, was that they. I felt that it really filtered down to everybody as a part of it. We created a really lovely working environment, and I think when you're dealing with things that are, there's contentious issues, and there's going to be potential outside opinions and noise on what you're dealing with. Like, I think that she just drove this positivity that I think was just it was actually from my point of view, it was really liberating, because I think for quite a few years been bogged down in a certain way of working that is not necessarily insular, but certainly if I've got these some big moments coming up, I'll take myself away, or I'll find a way to channel something. And actually, I threw all of that out the window with her. Like, because we would just we'd be in our green room, and I'd be blaring out like disco and funk and soul and things like that, and we would just be chatting and laughing and go into this, because I think our scenes, they felt very much like it was almost like doing a play in a way. It was like a two-hander.
Yeah.
And
I think that she just allowed a real freedom and liberty, I suppose.
So great to have a scene partner like that. But this character's so interesting in terms of the kind of different layers that he has, and also as that relationship kind of progresses. What's the kind of, not process that you have and stuff, but in terms of the prep for a character like that, sort of, what are the things that are most useful to you, and how do you kind of like step away from something like that as well?
Good question. I think the stepping away is always difficult. I find it really, really hard. This was a part that really resonated to me in ways I didn't. When I was reading the script, I was really impressed with Deborah Malley's writing. I think she's really I think she's a great writer, and I think she's put her understanding of human behavior is really on point, and that's the thing that always drives me whenever trying to look for a role. It doesn't matter if it's in whatever scale or scope it's in. I think it's all about human behavior, and for me, trying to understand Tommy, I really wanted to dial into. Of course, it's our own interpretation, but having had the chance to speak with his brother in particular, Rick, I really wanted to dial into this man who had a real lust for life, and how it was a sort of a bon vivant. You know, he always wanted someone to be dancing. He always wanted someone to have a drink in their hat. He always wanted someone to have this real sort of vivacious energy. And I think that my feeling was, by sort of tapping into that as much as I could, that would then allow a space for when things do unravel, when things aren't working out, that it's so conflicting for him, because I don't believe, certainly in how we showed him to be, that he was necessarily one for confrontation. I think if anything, he wanted everyone to be all right, and he wanted to find a way for everyone to be all right. So I think when he's faced in a scenario where he's probably never been in that kind of relationship before, I think that things have always been quite easy for him, I think, in his life. And I think that suddenly he's in a very volatile dynamic, which, you know, you sort of wonder if there was a way of people communicating in a different way, what could have happened? Who knows? But you do.
Yeah.
It was a real thing for me, trying to understand that this, if he has the big highs of having a lust for life, the flip side of that is it just leaves him to be so open and exposed. And I think so that was a lot of what I dialed into. And I think a lot of the prep came with what I did with Mia as well. I think because our relationship as actors, and then who we were playing, was very much this two-hander. You know, we had a very relaxed rehearsal process with Lee Haven-Jones. So I think who's like, I mean, he's got to be one of the best directors I've worked with. I think he's such a gentleman, but he's so easy, like easy to be around and to listen to and to take notes from. And I think we set up a really trusting relationship, and I think Mia and I had that. I mean, she may say differently, but I feel that we had this space where we could be really open with each other and really open in what we were trying to achieve and supportive of one another. So yeah, I think that was the process.
Amazing.
It's amazing how mature she is also, because I was shocked to find out how young she was when she came in. And I'm thinking, God, she just brings so much life experience to this role, even though she looks like she's 22 years old. It's just, she's an unbelievable actress, and you were great in it. But I have to bring up, Ed, you've been very charming. You've only been here a few minutes, but I think we're both equally charmed. But yet you've played these iconic villains. Do people have difficulty separating you from these like evil personalities when they meet you? Do they carry perhaps a heaviness when they meet you, or is that why you're so charming right off the bat? Because you have to convince people I'm a lovely person.
So because maybe I'm not a lovely person in real life, Michelle.
By the way, keep going. That's why I like you. I'm like, I know this man. He's got a side. Keep going.
I think I don't know. I don't know why it suddenly happened. I think Outlander was a thing that it opened up a different way of working for me, and I seem to have found myself playing more and more of these villainous parts, which I absolutely love doing them, but they always end up dying, so I don't ever get long contracts.
That's fine. Well, there's like always a good ending in a way. I got you.
Yeah, there's always a good ending. I don't know if people are wary of me. Some people do say they are. I never fully understand it. I've loved playing them, and I do. I'm drawn more and more to these roles that are maybe the nefarious, or they've got nefarious qualities. I think for me, I'm drawn in by these people being in the grey, because I think most of us are. And I know this is probably an answer given out a lot, but I feel that none of us. I was having this conversation because there's someone very dear to me who has definitely made some mistakes in their life, but they've been showing great moments of kindness recently, and I think that sort of sums it up to me in a nutshell. That not everybody is either good or bad. We are all somewhere in the middle. Now, sometimes when you're playing, when you're dramatizing people, there is extremities with that, and I think I really enjoy finding those, and I enjoy trying to maybe humanize people who can be a bit rogue.
Yeah. I had the absolute pleasure of chatting with one of your previous co-stars, Katrina Balfe, actually, just the other night about the end, the final season of Outlander.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of, it's been, I mean, it's a quarter of her life or something. She said it's crazy, but that's a show that is, you know, in terms of kind of reaching corners of the world that kind of you never imagined. What was that experience like for you working on that show?
Yeah, it's huge. It's funny because it's so revered in America. Like you go to America, it's like it's put on like pedestals. I think in the UK it has I think it's sort of having a delayed reaction here, but it seems to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Katrina's phenomenal in it, and I think she's been phenomenal in many things since, and will go on to be. You know, she's a really, really smart lady, and I think she's great. She's a really, really great person to hang out with. It's weird because I was actually asked to do a different part in that show the year before, and I turned it down. Wasn't necessarily feeling it.
Yeah.
And I was very worried about that decision because our son was pretty young at the time. I was like, okay, was that the move to do?
Nappies to buy.
Yeah, there was a lot of nappies. Yeah, do I get rid of the dog now?
Oh, not the dog. That's that evil side. I knew it was there. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll sell the dog. And then the following year they came back and asked me to play this part, and it was like Irish psychopathic pirate. I was like, well, how has anyone thought I can go into that world? But I feel that doing that part has allowed. I have a chip on my shoulder. I've had, as many of us do, elements of doubt and self-doubt and huge insecurities around the work. And I think that what Outlander did is it allowed me a moment to not feel that as much anymore, because it was I think it's the first time I'd played a part that I felt I could really try and show what I could possibly do. And I think that actually playing Stephen Bonnet, it massively allowed me a new way of working, like finding an ideology or a method or something that I can hang on to. And then from there, I think it allowed me to actually explore some pretty cool roles since then. So I owe a lot to the people that gave me that opportunity in the first place.
Did you refer to other pirate roles when you were preparing for him? For example, Captain Phillips. More obvious choices. Hook. Or did you want to become your own pirate, or were you basing this off of previous pirates?
I mean, this is just pure personal pirates that I know. My own affiliation with the pirating world.
One of the dumbest questions I've ever asked anyone in my life, but I felt like you could take it.
I like it.
I feel like I should have come up with a better answer as well, Michelle. I feel like that was letting me down.
You're a perfect person. No.
I definitely didn't want to do the Jack Sparrow route,
right?
Because you can't emulate something that's as iconic as that, and I think there is a danger. I think I don't think I really led on him being particularly piratey. That was not really it was like a secondary thing. He was just a geezer who liked to boat, I suppose.
I was so excited because kind of just working through some notes on you, and weirdly I was trying to remember. I was like, I'm sure I've interviewed Ed before, and I did. I think I did the red carpet for Eragon 20 years ago.
Wow.
You did. I just went to wash my hands before I came in, and I was like, I'm so excited to speak to Edith again, because you did like literally my first ever two interviews, and I was like, is it all right to talk about that because it's so long ago for both of us? But I was like, I remember we did a junket moment, and then I was bowled over. I was like, saw you on the red carpet, and what you don't understand is that I'd been watching you for a few years before that, watching you do interviews and being like completely overwhelmed that I was being interviewed by you. And then I bumped into you a few years later at like a BAFTA thing, and then so when this came from, I was like, oh my god, this is like
it's our hat trick.
It's our hat trick, and we get to talk for longer. It's great.
And I can't believe that that's 20 years ago. That's mental.
Yes. 20 years ago that came out. 21 years ago started filming it. Yeah.
Wowzers.
I know.
I'm very excited, Ed, about the Scorpions film. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I was going to try and whistle, but my mouth is so dry that I can't do the...
Have you not got any lip stuff nearby? Have you no
Hold on,
deodorant?
Put
hold
some
on,
hand,
hold
put some
on,
hand lotion
hold
on
on,
there.
hold on, hold on.
Okay, go on. Oh, my ears.
There you go.
Perfect.
Take my headphones out. Mhm.
Tell me about this. Tell us about this. What is it? When can we see it? Who are you playing, and what's the
It's so last year, it was 60 years anniversary of the Scorpions.
Wow.
And our producer, Ali, he is a massive Scorpions fan. So he wanted to make a film about the Scorpions, and he spent some. I mean, he goes to their gigs all around the world. So he, got Warner Brothers to agree to greenlight this film, and Alexander Draymond plays Rudy. I play Matthias Jobs, who is
lead guitar?
Yeah, and he's widely regarded as one of the best lead guitarists of all time. Sort of unsung in a way. I think if you're banging to rock and roll, then you know about him. But he doesn't get the same kudos as your Pages and Hendrix and the list could go on. So I got the opportunity to play him, and I don't play guitar, and I'm also left-handed, and he is right-handed. And they were like, "Oh no, don't worry, don't worry about that. We'll have a double." I'm like, "You can't." I had like 2 weeks before we started filming. They're like, "Yeah. You could have a couple of rehearsals," and I had a meltdown because I like to try and do things as properly as I can, and I also am a massive music fan, so it was an amazing opportunity. But there's been some great iconic music films for the last however many years. So I was really mindful of that. However, I think there's obviously a lot of people that shoot around and cut around. But I of course also had to flame with a German accent because Matthias, they are a German band, but they did all split as a band. They all, because they wanted to break America and they wanted to be successful in the West, they all refused. So the legend goes, and this is in the script, that they only spoke to each other in English, so that they would sound. So when they were singing, they would sing in English. Obviously, all their songs are in English, so they would then sound. I suppose their accents would lessen, and they would become clearer sounding. And so basically, that's what.
Wow.
It's like what ABBA did a little bit. That's really interesting.
Exactly, very similar. But he's a. I got the chance to go. And they were playing in Helsinki, so I flew out to go and go meet him, and shared a lovely steak dinner. And we talked about football, we talked about music, we talked about Russia, we talked about everything.
Wow.
which was great. Yeah, he was a really enlightening. Yeah, he was. I had a lot of fun doing it. And then they actually after the event, the producers made all four of the band members up there. They made us all exec producers as well, which was really a very nice touch. So that was cool. But yeah, I don't know when it's coming out. I've got no idea. Soon-ish. I know the band have seen the screening, and I think they really liked it, which is a good
that's
sign.
Exciting. Yeah.
And Matthias said, but than I thought it would be, which is, for Matthias, is high praise.
And can I just tell you, when I was doing a little research about you, I saw that you are of Belgian descent. And I will tell you that I lived in Amsterdam for 2 years, very close to Belgium. And I found them to be quite serious, similar in a way to the Germans. And yet you are very funny. Do you think that's your English side coming through? Or is it do you have Belgian relatives who are funny? Or what's your story?
I think the Belgians are hilarious, Michelle. I'll take real
Do you?
umbrage with that comment. No.
You know what? I figured you would. That's why I asked it.
My family descent, they're from Antwerp. I mean, they're into jazz up there. Yeah, jazz, diamonds, and a bit of fashion. Dries van Noten.
Dries van Noten. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Antwerp. Yeah. Delicious, lovely clobber. Lovely clobber. Yeah. I mean, I waffle a lot.
I figured you would. I just wanted to know connections to your Belgian past, because to me, you come off as so English, and it's just interesting to know if you. Yeah, I think so.
I like to think I've got more Belgian in me than I probably actually have. I'm sort of fascinated by Belgian history. My great grandfather, he was quite an interesting man, but I think he worked in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. At the time, it was the Belgian Congo, Leopold.
Yeah.
Messy thing. But he was out there, but he had a farm in Yorkshire where my granddad was born. I mean, I can't believe I'm about to now. I'd say this on the podcast, but I think he also might have had might have had a family there to up at the same time.
Really? Okay, now we're getting to this is the exclusive interview I wanted.
Ed.
There is a script. I sort of brought it up with my dad, and they're all in denial about it. But I'm convinced it could easily be true. He's quite Charles Emmanuel Speleers. I'm fascinated by him because he had three.
What a great name!
A great name, isn't it?
Have you ever done a DNA test? Maybe you can find. I'm not even being funny. Like you can connect to all these relatives and find things out.
Yeah. Someone showed me recently there's actually a really easy app to do it now where you hardly need any information. I met someone in Kansas the other day. Yeah. And I know, like you kind of give a little bit of information, they can trace all sorts of amount of things.
That's just Google.
Yeah, that's Putin's work.
Can I just say I love Belgium? My husband's bands are massive in Belgium, so we love the Belgians. Thank you very much.
I like them too. Listen, I live very close by, and I'll say it is a beautiful country. I've driven through Belgium, delicious food.
I've driven through it.
I have quickly, speeding through, but I'll say
it's very flat, so it's quite easy to do.
It's so flat, and no, it's gorgeous. When you fly over Belgium, your eyes sing. It's a beautiful country.
I wanted to ask just about going back to Eragon, if you don't mind, just the idea of, when you're starting out in this industry, I mean, what were you like 16, 17 at the time? And you kind of go through that process of, of auditioning, and it was crazy the number of people that you sort of fought for that role in a way, you know what I mean? And kind of, but what's that like to kind of sort of, from almost like overnight be this kind of sort of normal kid, teenager, to suddenly this kind of new world is thrust in front of you?
Can I be really honest?
Yeah, totally, please.
With hindsight now, incredibly difficult. I knew nothing, and I definitely know that I was I a jumped up little prick? I don't know if I was, but I definitely had a bit of action, but I think that was potentially going to happen anyway. It was pretty terrifying, and I think I just tried to mask it. And I think also, like, I had the time of my life making it. I was doing the one thing I always wanted to do, and I was working with like incredible people, but it was so jarring from my existence. And I remember sitting in. I'd never seen my dad really cry, and I remember sitting in a square in Budapest. It was just about to start filming, and he'd come. It was before, and I was 17, so it was a weird age where now this wouldn't happen, but you didn't have to have a chaperone. So I didn't have a chaperone at the age of 17, and actually, in hindsight, I really should have done. Yeah. So and you're working with adults, and you're in an adult environment, and there's everything that happens as a result of that. So, but I remember my dad sitting. Anyway, we were sitting in the square, and there's lots of crew with us. We're about to start filming, and I remember my dad. He'd had a beer or two, but whatever, and he looked at me, and he was like, "Son, I'm really worried. I'm really scared." And I was just as a 17-year-old lad, sort of laughed it off. Like, "Oh, Dad, don't worry, it'll be fine. No worries." But he was right. Actually, he was really, 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 really on point, and quite astute in that moment. And I don't regret anything. There's no point, and I don't want. If I hadn't have started at that point, then the journey I have been on and it's still on wouldn't be taking place. However, there is an element of what I know now if I'd known at that point, which is such an easy thing to say. But yeah, it was really, really jarring. And I think also what was particularly jarring, it was a huge build-up, not just making the film, going off and doing a huge press tour. Like I went to like Tokyo twice, went all around America on my own. Just amazing, like incredible, like a mind-blowing experience, and loved it.
Yeah.
Crescendo into this moment when I met you, Edith, to then literally the film. And I've never licked anything since. So it's all been downhill since then.
I could see that.
But then the film, it didn't quite land how we wanted it to, or the studio wanted it to. It did fine, and actually a lot of people these days come up to me, and kids come up to it, like really love it.
Yeah, but my kids are both watching it, love it.
Yeah, I think it's it definitely has a place, but it didn't quite do what I think we wanted it to do, and it was almost like, cheers mate, thanks, and nothing really happened for me for quite a while after that, which is also all right. That's fine.
I want to ask a follow-up question because I was in Budapest myself, funny enough, at 19 in the year 2001. with no parents because I studied abroad there. And one thing I know about that town is, as a young person without a lot of money, you can really do a lot of damage because it was very cheap back then. And there was nothing stopping you from going to any bar, any restaurant, any event. Do you have any stories that you remember from the age of 17 where you were like, I might be too young for this? Or did you find yourself in trouble? It's a beautiful city, by the way, but did you find yourself in trouble at any point?
Yes, all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you guys hung out in the same bars.
I was thinking, what year were you there?
I was there 2005.
Oh, no, you're very young, Ed. Must be nice. I was there 2001 in the spring. But give me some examples. Like, what kind of things happened to you? I'm so curious.
Oh, gosh. I remember Garrett Hedlund and I, we were very, we became very close. And I think there was a night where we were like realized it was going to be our final night working together, or final day or something. We got into a habit of like we had to have 5 shots in each bar, and they had to be 1 shot of Zambuca, 1 shot of tequila, 1 shot of absinthe, 1 shot of
Oh my
Oh my God. I'm going to be sick thinking about it.
I am now. I couldn't even imagine. And I think I carried him on my shoulders, and they're like, he's quite a lot bigger than me. And I remember that, but there's a vague memory of like not really making it back to my hotel to do so. I don't know. There was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of crying with me and Garrett, and there was a lot of falling over in the street. So there's a few moments like that. But there's some amazing bars there. Remember one bar Simpler? SZIMPLA, and you sort of, it's like from the outside you sort of see a slightly derelict looking building with like a little sort of archway. You think, well, what's going on in here? And you sort of step in, and it just opens up into this huge bar with a massive terrace where they used to sort of, there's little greenery outside, and we used to have films playing on screens out there, and pool, and that was a favorite haunt. There was a good music
festival. Good memory you've got. What a great memory.
Yeah. There's there was a festival that doesn't exist anymore, because there used to be this island called Dock Island, which was in the middle of the Danube. And there was like 4 or 5 bars and clubs and they'd have live music. They had a festival there. Who did we see there? I think I saw the Chemical Brothers or something like that.
What?
Yes. Yeah. Someone like that. It was someone. Wow. Anyway. I would like to go back to Budapest. Now's the time.
It's an amazing place. The best
retrace your steps.
Yeah.
Another kind of iconic role that you've played as well in a huge show, another huge show, is Downton Abbey. It's James the Footman. What joining something like that, does it take a minute to kind of, sort of find your place in that sort of established cast and sort of get the rhythm of it in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I remember sort of watching it on the telly, series 1 and 2, being like, I've never done anything like that. I really, really like to be a part of a show like that. That'd be quite cool. And then lo and behold, the following year, had an audition to go in and play Jimmy. I think that's the first time I felt pressure about joining something. And I think, because you are joining something that it's so revered. Sometimes people, I think I've learned since then, actually, there's an ease to that, which I didn't know at the time, because there's a safety and something working and and it being like a well-oiled machine. But when you're coming in and being given that opportunity, I was sort of on a trajectory. I think it was not about coming back, but I'd started to do some interesting work, I felt. So it was like, that was a first sort of moment of being, okay, you're right. You're really coming back into something here. And I think that just, I felt a lot of pressure coming in and working with some like real juggernaut actors as well. I felt so much pressure that I think on my first day, I had to carry a tray full of silver and tea up a steep flight of stairs. And I obviously dropped it on my first take, and everything just went clattering everywhere. So much so that the prop department from that point on just used to always stick things down for me. Because they didn't trust me.
Has there ever been a Downton Abbey bloopers reel? Because I would love to watch that.
I'd love to see that.
It would be good. I mean, I think it would be hours of Dame Maggie Smith just giving wry looks and saying things she shouldn't say.
One of the best. All right. I think it's time we play a game. Edith, what do you think?
Love a game.
Okay.
Love a game.
Well, now we're going to play a game called Revival. All right, Ed. So here's what we want to know. If you could revive any one of your favorite British shows, what would it be? Now, this could be a one-off. This could be a mini-series. But I just ask that you impress us with your answer. Take it away.
So what I would do, because I feel that my worry with bringing too many shows back is that I'm a bit anti sort of reboots and regeneration in a way sometimes. So I would like to do something that I really don't think is on people's minds. And I'm going to say Sharp. Do you remember Sharp with Sean Bean in the early 90s?
SHOP, like going to shop?
See, no, Sharp.
Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp.
As in a sharp knife.
As in a
So it's
sharp,
based on,
I was like...
based on Bernard Cromwell books. And it was like set in the early 90s, and Sharp was in the basic. He was a leader, a major of a battalion of almost like, they were like an SAS squad in like the late 1800s, and they were sort of fighting in the Napoleonic Wars.
It's peak Xian Bian time, isn't it? It's peak.
Oh, it's Xian Bian. Oh yeah, this is when everyone loved a bit of Xian. I mean, who doesn't still love him? But yeah, it was. I think if you had, a sort of, not a crown makeover, but someone, that sort of level, HBO, if you really went flat out on it, big scale, the sort of good the same way people have done Game of Thrones. If you did that with Sharp and these stories and these books, it's the same. So Bernard Cromwell also wrote Last Kingdom. So that's the sort of epic nature we're talking here. I would love that. I would love to also play Sharp. There's also an interesting story about the roller Sharp, because Paul McGann, do you remember Paul McGann?
Yeah.
Who obviously from With Nail and I. He was actually booked to play Sharp originally. And it's quite enough. And they were filming in Croatia, and he went out to play and was in rehearsals and started playing five-a-side with the crew and broke his ankle.
No.
So got sent back, and that's when Sean Bean burst onto our screens.
Wow, that's very Survivor coded. Like, send the medics in, copter him out.
I've never seen you retaking that. I've just been looking at some pictures, and I could totally see you in that role.
I know.
I feel ignorant. I feel stupid because we in the US, I've never heard of the show, and I consider myself, as we know, an Anglophile. And I love Sean Bean because obviously love Game of Thrones and all the things he's ever been in. But I'm very taken by this artwork. It's sort of like a Fabio-esque romance novel. He's looking unbelievable. He's almost looking David Bowie-esque in some of these photos, but he looks...
There is an element of that, yeah.
A little bit of that, but wow, I have to find Sharp. This is not something that ever made its way over the ocean, I'll tell you.
I would also watch a show called Shop, by the way.
By the way, I'm hosting that. That's my show called Shop, where I piss away my savings. Well, Ed, you have been beyond a pleasure. I find you charming and funny and talented, and I'm so thrilled that you were able to join Edith and I today. So I want to say a big thank you.
Edith, Michelle, was a real pleasure. Thank you for giving me the chance to chat.
So great to catch up with you after all these years.
Yes.
I know.
I can't believe it's 20 years since I last spoke to him. How nice is Ed Speleers?
He's the nicest Belgian person I've ever met in my life. I love him. First of all, even because it was a bit grainy, the camera, he's so cute. And he's just, I love when an actor is charming off screen. Some of them are not like that. Some can be very serious and a little self-serious. That's why I love English people so much, because he was just a charmer through and through.
And wanting to have a chat as well. I love that. You know, it's kind of like really good stuff he was kind of getting into. And it was great. I'm genuinely excited for the Scorpions film as well. I know what I'm off to listen to now.
I know. And also how nice to witness the two of you kind of reconvene after such a long time. I really love that.
And just to remind people how old I actually am as well. It's like, totally. As if you guys needed kind of encouraging, we also obviously had Mia McKenna-Bruce on, but the lady is genuinely brilliant and well worth checking out. It's streaming now on BritBox if you want to check it out.
I really loved it. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. And guys, we are going to be back next week with more insider info from more of your favorite British shows. We'll miss you till then. Edith, it's been fun.
Always.
Bye, guys.
Bye. You've been listening to On The Box, hosted by Edith Bowman and Michelle Collins. Theme music was by Dario Forzato and Canio Claudio Tristano, courtesy of 411 Music. The mix engineer was Arlie Adlington. The production coordinator was Caroline Barlow. The production manager was Mabel Finnegan-Wright. The production executive was Ian Hayden. The executive producers for BritBox are Alana McGahey and Diane Robina. The executive producer for BBC Studios is Pete Strauss. The producer was Rajiv Karia. On the Box is a BBC Studios production for BritBox.